Hey, B Mix family. How's it going? What's going on? I missed you. I'm happy to see you. Happy to be here. I love you. If you ain't heard that today or all week yet, we're here. I'm here. You know, the saying goes, here, queer, and ain't going nowhere. So, whatever. However that falls in line for you. Hopefully, even if it doesn't relate to you, that it made you giggle. It's always the phrase that makes me giggle. I think it's so cute and fun. Anywho, can y'all tell that this about to be another show of y'all just being in my head and just getting all my thoughts rolling out? Okay, good, very good. And on tabs, boys, very good, very good. Welcome or welcome back to another episode of the B Mix, only on BeExposedRadio.com. You already know what Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time are for, or who, therefore, I don't know why I always say what. The unseen, the unheard, the overlooked, the forgotten, whether it be the forgotten part of you or for the person that does not belong anywhere. Me, B, so welcome. You know that we love and embrace and empower us all to be our most authentic selves here, to share our raw, authentic, organic material and our experiences and things. So, you know what? Guess what? Guess how we do that? We create the space. How do you create the space to do that? I do that here. So I will be getting into my own stuff and just a mashup of different things that have I've come across or that have come my way throughout this week or since the last time we've met, right? But before we get into any of that, y'all know I love to share, and not that it's a happy thing, but I mean, we got to be reminded, baby. We cannot forget, okay? And some of us really need to learn, and me included. So that's why I said us. I don't know why I just try to fix that. Y'all see that one little piece that's just sticking out? It's my hair. I love it. I know I named my hair Boss a long time ago, back when I had my bush out. She just really does what she wants to do. And I love it. I embrace that. So welcome. If you out here in a tank top and your hair, just doing what it wants to do, I hope that's exactly how you are enjoying listening and watching to the B Mix today, because baby, that's my whole mood right now. I literally just lit incense. I got my tea. I hope that y'all hearing the not the straw. What's this called? The spoon. That sound. I hope y'all hearing that. It doesn't trigger you. What's that movie? Oh, y'all was crazy about? I'm not saying y'all because I wasn't crazy about. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anywho, creating a mood or creating a vibe based off my mood. But again, before we get into all of what I have in store for you, get out. Thank you, because it keeps me together. Thank you, Money. Get out. That's what it was. So matter of fact, I'm gonna take my spoon out because I don't want to trigger nobody about to get out. Because now I'm thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie. So this is why I don't need to watch anything that's suspenseful and scary looking like that. I'm gonna say this randomly because y'all can't see it, and I'm so grateful. When I tell you I look like I look like Big Mama sitting here because the way this tank top is sitting and the way I'm just sitting in this tank top. But thank God for the band that goes across the bottom. Y'all can't see none of that. And guess what? Even if you could, I don't care. I knew it was a risk today, though. I didn't know what I was about to. It doesn't matter. I'm rambling on. It's about what I can see in the screen and what y'all cannot see. So none of that just made sense to you, and that's okay. Just know it's another show of In Benia's Mind. Maybe that's what we need to call it from now on. I don't know. There needs to be the indefinite topic. Just know that that's the B Mix. It's just In Benia's Mind, right? Okay, so without further ado, our moment of a history of racial injustice brought to us by Equal Justice Initiative, my favorite calendar in the whole world. September 16th, which is today, in 1928, Okeechobee hurricane kills 2,500 people in South Florida, mostly Black migrant farm workers. Over 600 Black victims are buried in segregated mass graves with no memorial. Isn't it funny how even in death that the uncolored forefathers, whatever you want to call them, their ancestors, because they have theirs as well. Remember that. Even your enemies has ancestors. It's probably the first B tip of the week. Don't ever think that just because you don't like somebody, just because you don't agree with them, that they don't have ancestors themselves. Just saying. And so take that, eat that if you need to, or spit it out. It's totally fine. But just know everybody has somebody that's, that they're looking to, praying to, or that's looking out for them. So, y'all really into like, channeling our ancestors, making our ancestors proud. Remember, there are other folks out here that have them as well. Whether they're good people or not, we don't know. Truth be told, unpopular opinion, not all the ancestors that we think that we're, keeping in mind. Like some of us, do we really know? The same ones that are like channeling and trying to make our ancestors proud, do we know who they are? Because I don't. I still want to and really need to. Y'all, I'm gonna get into that. I almost spilled some. Let me take a sip. I almost spilled some of this. Wait till I get to that. Baby, I got something hot for y'all. Okay, and it's hotter than this tea. But isn't it funny how that even in death that they could see fit, right, to deem it necessary to segregate, right? Because that's what our moment of a history of racial injustice said, that there are over, out of the 2,500 people in South Florida that were killed by the hurricane, that over 600 Black victims are buried in segregated memorials that are, in graves without a memorial, right? No memorial, no nothing, just kind of literally, I'm just assuming, probably just dumped bodies, probably on top of each other. Who knows, right? I mean, our ancestors were alive and they had bodies piled on top of each other. So pretty sure they wouldn't care there. Mind you, we're talking back in 1928. So they definitely were not trying to make sure. They already didn't give the memorial, but why they saw fit that even in death saw fit to segregate, to make sure, like, as in like your enemies, the people against you, the people that hate you will go above and beyond to still do hurt and harm, to you, to your name, to memorialize you or the lack thereof. Like, they'll do that. Just keep that in mind. And so why it's so important to pour into your own self, so important to keep at it. And I'm speaking this to myself out loud and to you, that keep at it about, building and working up your legacy and just what your legacy, what you'll leave behind. Because I couldn't imagine, like, right now, somebody, God forbid, if I dropped dead or somebody came in here and killed me, and that, live show, it's done now. And then like that somebody, either that same person or just someone else that would hate me so much would be sure, like, oh no, that's Benia's body. Got to make sure I throw that over here to make sure that she gets no memorial. She gets no nothing. Like, that is so, look, bro, I'm already dead. Like, what's up? Like, why would you think that is like crazy to me? But unfortunately, in the world that we live in and that we have been living in for so long, that it's not unbelievable, especially for 1928. Like, that's definitely not believable. I'm not unbelievable. It's not even unbelievable for 2021, if you ask me, but I know you didn't. I digress. We'll get into it. Our topic this week, y'all, is simply, can we just, like, it is going to be a mashup of just so many, not so many, but quite a few, like just different topics, little mini topics here and there. And I'm just ping pong them out, maybe right back around them. Try not to spend too much time on each of them. At first it was a couple of them, I'm not gonna lie. The list has grown. I'm looking at my notes because I got, like, I ain't gonna say paragraphs, but a couple of them. I think I wrote out all of what I was thinking about. They could be connected. Who knows? Y'all know I pray about every show, so I'm sure either each, interval could, reach someone, or someone could relate to, or that, God may use all of these different, what I think are random topics, to connect the dots for somebody else. I don't know. For me, it's me dumping out, pouring out. You know how a lot of us are seeing, like, photo dumps. I think I've done that. I think I did that once. I don't know. I think I remember putting, like, I think this is a photo dump, I'm not sure, or something, as a caption. So, but yeah, I see a lot of people like posting like photo dumps. So this is my thought dump, my thinking dump. I'm just getting it out. So what is this? Oh, okay. So I'm gonna just go in order. I thought I had this in my notes for much later on, but let's get into it, right? Y'all, remember how I said I had something hot? Let me sit back because my back hurts. Cool, child. Remember how I said that I had something hot, hotter than this tea? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna really read from my notes because it's funny to me, and I'm trying to tell it real good. Okay. Y'all know how God can get you back focused? Ask me. And somebody asked me, say, how, Benia, how can God get you back focused? So many ways, right? Let me tell you about me. Child, he'll let you meet someone, right? So this was hot, it's tea. He'll let you meet someone that seems decent enough, right? Like, and it's so crazy because I had never, even in generally, like if I meet anybody or come across, I don't know, yeah, just come across someone or whatever that I'm glad that I'm delivered from, like, I don't sexualize or over sexualize anything. Like, I'm not, it's so weird. I even nowadays, like, say if I'm driving and might see, or on social media or whatever, to see somebody that, like it might be that, muscle man, like shirt off, like oiled up or something, like something that you would normally think that I'm sure, like not too long ago, but they'd be like, oh, okay. I have not moved. I know I'm not saying I'm going to the other side or anything. I've been there, done there, but I don't think that's what that means. It's just I have not moved by like sexualizing like someone in order for me to be interested. Like I really believe that I'm truly at the place in life now where it's like, look, are you showing up for me? And to prove that to someone like takes consistency, right? So I think more than anything right now is that, so while I'm explaining like, oh, it seemed like nice, like I did never look at this person and be like, oh, okay. It's just like, okay, I mean, I don't know. That's the best way I can put that. But let me get through it because that ain't really have nothing to do with it, but it should help me out before any of y'all go to judge me. So remember, I said, how does God get you back focused, right? So anyway, meet someone just to find out. Now he got the same last name as me. No, Pat. Pause, y'all. It gets worse. So then, right, as I like literally went from it's literally been in like a 2-day span, right? And so, like exchange number, okay, fine. My issue with myself is that I always make sure I get somebody's first and last name, never even thinking about for that reason, literally because I prefer to save people's names in my phone, if I'm gonna save your name at all, in my phone with first and last names. Like, that's it. And then it's the whole, here in Baltimore, Maryland, like, you're gonna look people up and blah, blah, blah. So, but that helps. But truly is, I don't tell me your name Lil Stink. Like, I'm turned off now. I don't even, I've been that way all this, like, bro, I know that's not on your birth certificate. Your mama ain't give you that name, right? Anywho, so, okay. So I found that was the second day, right? That I find out last name. And it was literally, it's so funny about what happened, that he's like, does like videos or whatever, like on YouTube. And he had wound up, all we did was talking the one day, so day one, like in text messaging, and then like he works overnight, so we talked like kind of late that night, and then here it is that next day. So in that second day conversation, it was me saying like, oh yeah, you told me to check out your YouTube channel, whatever, you didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. So when he sent the link in itself, it doesn't have his name in it. It's really weird. But with it, the way it shows up in iPhone, that it has his name. That's what's so crazy about it. Look like that. My last name isn't foreign. It's also not very common, but it's a simple last name. So, and I know that like even in the church I grew up in, that there are other Richardsons like in there, right? That none of us were related. Like it was different classes. I think like 2 or 3 like outside of us, right? So maybe been 3 altogether or whatever, 3 or 4 altogether. And so like, so I do get that, but here's the other kicker. Remember I said it gets worse? I said all that to get to this point. Then he says, well, yeah, because it's something along the lines of like, some way like a grandmother or something like claims, this last name, but really actual last name would be this. Why the other name is my mother's maiden name, bro. No, I'm not. We're not. No. No. Like, no, y'all. What do you do? Like, what? No. Like, I can't. I think I can say this, that because I was trying to figure out if this was like my actual feeling. I know at some point, so I don't know if it was my initial response, because I wound up saying to him, my first response was, is your last name Richardson? I said, yes. So is mine. So glad that, this is my whole message to him. So is mine. So glad that the only conversation that we've had over the phone was last night, when literally our conversation, it got into like me giving my opinion and like advice on like two different like past situations or relationships or whatever of his. Like, that was it. Like, you don't know me. I can talk on a topic. Like, you know what I mean? So that was the gist of our conversation. Because one, I was going to bed anyway. It was late. Where I don't stay up that late. If I do, it's because I've been binge watching The Chi. I'm now done. I'm done now. I gotta go back to going to bed all early. So yeah, no. Like, I wound up saying that, but what he ended up responding, that's the point that I was getting to, of saying like I don't want to say turn on, but just what is alarming to me, just the more I continue to think about it, is literally because his response is, well, I don't know you. It was two different messages. I don't know you. And the second one was, so you should be good. What is happening? Like, no, cuz, and again, I know I've mentioned this before, probably slightly, but my father's family is a mystery to me. So yeah, no, I could see if like, I know my family, and so I have no confidence whatsoever that you could or could not be like, and I don't feel like doing all of that searching. I mean, I tossed some names out to my mama. I mean, to my daddy, and then to my mama to find out about like her father, like my maternal grandfather, right? Because that's where the two. So it would be my paternal grandfather and my maternal grandfather. I know my maternal grandfather, absolutely never met. My paternal grandfather, he passed before I was born. And don't really know, like I said, any of my father, like from his mother or father's side of the family, like really don't. And I know I come from a big family on both sides, right? I know more of my mother's family, but not to that extent. And then where I don't know her family is her father's side. So no, like I have no good source. And yeah, again, I can ask them, but it would literally take for you to send me name. Like we finally get around to asking like, oh, what's your grandma's name? Doesn't matter. That's not a check off enough for me. So I tried, y'all. Didn't I tell y'all that I would try this year? And I tried, and look where it got me. And it's crazy because I could really believe that it's possible that we ain't no kin, but what I cannot, I can't get over where my thought went immediately was like, bro, what they not gonna do is announce, please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Richardson. And my family looking like, wait a minute, because her name is already, what, they taking her list? It's too much talk. I know. Not that I'm stuck on what people think, but bruh, be blessed though. Like, be blessed. So yeah, that's dating life. So yeah, I sent that text. Like I think we talked slightly today, and still already I was in a place of like, I'm not jumping into, like, I'm not looking forward to, back in the day or just whenever you just were not really very serious about definitely settling down or whatever, like, in that place of like, where you're telling yourself, but that, for sure, that's not really what you want. You want the fun, you might still want to deal with the bad boy or whatever that ain't no good for you type thing. But yet you're telling yourself, like, I'm ready for marriage. And the whole time it's really because you're waiting for the bad boy to just turn good all of a sudden and just do right by you. No, I'm not talking about that phase. I've gone through that, right? So now I'm really at this place of like, yeah, no, it gotta be the one. It gotta be it. And I'm okay with waiting for that. And so all of that to say that I never, like, I was never, like I was talking earlier about, like, not sexualizing or just not even thinking of like, oh, like getting into the conversations, like can you get to a conversation of like speaking, too cute for each other or sexually or like none of that. So it's a good thing that I've just always been carrying that weight anyway, before I found that out. And then, so even to be able to talk like today, literally it was getting off of work or something like that. And it was like, oh, okay, and it was nice because he was like, oh, I'm standing on fire. I was on my way back home from dropping Sydney off to school. And, I didn't really, he was like, oh, no, I'm wait. I was like, oh, aren't you going to bed? Like, you say you're sleeping. And I know I'm going straight in the house to take a little more than that before I, get all my Thursday things together and done. And I didn't realize, like, he was like, oh, no, I'm waiting for you to get home. I was like, oh, sweet. But no, I can't be, don't start liking me. I'm about to like you, miss. No, cousin. Thanks, bro. Like, nah, it's, so that was done for me. And maybe I need to make it a little more clear. Because again, we talked today, like when I thought I was clear, when I, said no, but I think I have to be a lot clearer. Okay. So yeah, speaking of breaking up, here's another topic. Y'all, this crossed my mind. Yeah, it's since the last time we talked, right? What is it about, or how do you handle breaking up with old friends, like families, like their children, or their parents, like especially like their moms? Like, how do you deal with that? Like, I ask that because I can think of, I want to say all, but definitely a few come to mind of like any past friends, like, former friends, ex-friends or whatever. And I'm talking just friends, right? Best friends or whatever that, I'm no longer friends with anymore, but I'm like had a connection, like made a bond with their parent, with their, especially like I said, especially their mom, really. It's only moms that are coming to mind anyway, but, like I recently thought about like one of my best friends who I really know, like just her mom, like she's reached out and I, like responded, but I can't respond in my own mind. It's like, I can't respond the way I would love to respond of like, hey, oh my goodness, yes. She asked about Sydney and, of course, asking like to see us, right? And says like, stop by the house anytime or, call me. And it's like, I get it. And I also know that you don't know how phony your daughter is. And I also know that I feel like it would be inappropriate and not so right for me to ask you like, all right, well, let me know when she's not home. And then, we'll swing by and then let me know when she comes home so we can be gone before then. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, and I don't know. I don't know how to handle that. Like there's really just one that really comes to mind. And they're like the other one, like at least it's like, social media, like she'll comment or something, which is cute. And I think that's fine enough. Because again, I don't know what her daughter is like. I don't know what's been said about me, which I really could care less now. I'm at that place. But knowing that could influence, like, or just whatever, just make you think. But yet still caring is knowing that I was a good friend to their children. So, and then you have it to where y'all, my oldest goddaughter reached out to me semi recently. And that's from yet another best friend where literally we haven't talked since I call myself being, a friend of just like offering like some advice, some support. Like, I'm not supposed to be the person to just let you sit here in your stuff. That's just not it. And if that's what you prefer as friends, clearly that's the case, then you have my blessing to move on. I know you were moving on from me, but go ahead. But I'm also the godmother to your children. So what do we do there? That's why I say everything deserves a conversation. And we haven't had that. We had a conversation where I was asking you and wanted you to actually, we had a, what is it? I guess I had a monologue where it is I wanted it to be a dialogue, right? I wanted questions to be asked, or, well, how do you get that from this? Where do you get that? Like, you didn't get any of that from me. You just, I guess, in that moment, or even after the fact, told yourself, like, nah, like, I don't want to deal, I don't want to be a part of, which is crazy to me. But side note, why in the hell, why are you still watching every story of mine? Like 2 out of the 3 friends that I've brought up just now, like, you're watching every story, anything that I post, anything. I will never understand that. It sounds mean, but truthfully, like if you're out of my, like it's out of sight, out of mind for me. Like I pray for everyone. So I know that's covered. Like that's the part, that's what I'm supposed to do. But as far as checking up on, I've never been that person. I'm not going to check on you on social media when I know personally that anything, even in the times of my life where I was posting, even I'm coming on here doing this. And yes, it's raw, it's authentic, it's organic, but y'all still don't know everything. So I either just haven't gotten around to it, you know what I mean? Or it's some past stuff and then something else comes to mind to bring it up or whatever. And I've only been on air for a year. Like, a year versus my 31 years of life. Like, cut it out, y'all. Y'all not going to know everything yet, just in case anybody's eyebrow went up like, you always say you so real. I am. Like, there's no way. We're still building this relationship, y'all. So, I mean, you'll keep learning more about me, and I hope to learn more about you, right? And so I'll just never get why people rely on, oh yeah, such as good as I check her on social media. No. Like one of the ex-friends that I'm talking about, like even, I think I said this, I don't know, like showed up to buy my book at the book expo. And it was like the phoniest interaction. Like, because it was none. Like she showed up with someone else who I call like a brother. And even literally down to like paying for the book. She sent the money to him, then for him to cash at me, like literally standing there. Like if I thought about it more than 5 seconds, it would have been like, just don't even worry about it. Like, but I wasn't, the crazy part is I wasn't desperate for the money because it was like, definitely didn't even think he would come. And I didn't even think she was going to get one because he had already bought one. So I was fine with just one of them buying one. Totally okay. Like, you ain't even spoke to me. Like, it was a surprise, but I'm not about to bang on no drum, like, for the fact of you being here, because it's still phony to me. You still can't think to have an actual conversation to say, you know what, probably what I did was wrong. I can't deal with anybody that doesn't acknowledge that they, did have a grievance against me and just did not express that way. That's phony as I don't know what to me, like that. And it's disgusting. Like, and it's annoying if I think about it. And that's why I don't think about it. Because I've dealt with it myself though, not for those of us that feel like, out of sight, out of mind. Like out of sight, out of mind for me is applied once I have thought it through and dealt with whatever emotions and feelings that I have had again about something. If it's about a friend breakup, then okay. So that's why I'm now processing the idea of breaking up with old friends, families, and parents. You know what I mean? Like parents are part of family, sure, but just saying. So like their moms and the children. And so like back to the point of the friend where she's the mother of my godchildren, like, and they're old enough. They're older now. They're both teenagers. So like they're definitely old enough to be able to talk about things and all that. And they, funny the support pops up. Like to me, they're definitely two young people that need, the most support they possibly. They've gone through a lot of losses just as well as my ex-best friend has. And it's crazy that this is probably the first time I'm referring to her as an ex-best friend because I wouldn't even know. Like, but I'm gonna just take it as what it is. Like, we clearly must not be friends anymore, which is fine with me because what I always take to heart with, again, even back to the one that showed up at the book expo, neither one of you have even thought to ask about check on my daughter. Like, once you show me that, it's hard to push through anything else. Like, I'm okay. It could be whatever you have against me, but you don't even think to care about the livelihood of my child, but swore that you loved her down. Yeah, I'm okay. Then be well. Okay. I'm sorry, my bracelets got all tangled while I was talking. But yeah, so by my goddaughter reaching out, and truthfully, she reached out immediately. So her birthday had just passed, so immediately I reach out. I say that like happy belated birthday. I love you. I check on her sister. Asking her about her sister, asking both of them about school, asking her about school for both of them. And so she answers and responds, and I didn't even look at the time. She wanted to pretend like I'm still actually in school now. I'm like, oh shoot, okay. And I'm glad she said that because that was at the very moment that because I brought up their age to y'all for a reason, that because of their age, I wanted to address, like, I didn't just fall the face off the earth for y'all. Like, I didn't just stop trying to, take y'all to church or trying to talk to you or check on you, like, for no reason. That's the thing. Like, I really feel like I have to respect that apparently, because I don't know, it's not like she told me, but I feel like I have to respect that their mother, doesn't want me around or to be. No, she hasn't said it, but at the same time, we haven't been able to communicate. And what that conversation that we had was about support for them. So if you don't want my opinion or you don't want me, like, and I don't believe it was harsh, it was reality. You know what I mean? And it's been nothing since. Like, and I wouldn't expect you to feel like, oh, you better check in on me with me to see if you're doing better. Let me see if you're progressing. That's not the case, because that conversation didn't come from a judgmental place at all. And I made sure, kept saying that, but clearly whatever I said wasn't heard. And so it's just like, how are y'all dealing with, like, or how are you? How do you, or would you deal with breaking up with friends, families, their parents, their children, their siblings, whomever you built a bond with? I think it's pretty difficult in my scenario, because again, I take the title of godmother very seriously, right? And I've had this experience in the past, and it was a much younger goddaughter, a very old friend of mine. And so we haven't been friends like in a long time, but and it was like I kept asking, like, I was like, look, we can even be like a baby mother, baby father type situation. I know I don't like saying that, but really, right? Like, as in, like, can I come see her, or can I, have time with her, or this or that? And she really wasn't having it. She didn't want me to be supportive. She's like, if you're not going to be my friend, because I want us to be friends again. Like, we're not going to be friends, then no. Okay. Like, okay. I was like, well, I know I can't, like, I can't trust you, and I don't want to be friends with anybody that, I can't be my fully be myself with. Like, I don't want that. I don't like that for me. Like, I don't like that for you. Like, I would want you to, because even if people feel safe with, being themselves with me, but how fair is it? Like, that's, strangers and all of that. That's in general. But then how fair is it for me to call you my friend, even my best friend, and I don't feel that same way? Then what am I getting out of it? And yes, the world unfortunately does really operate in a what do I get from it type situation, right? So that's that. Here's another one, y'all. So I was listening to the radio. I'm definitely turning into the person that prefers to hear the people talking now. So maybe y'all should be yelling at me, because I'll admit now that I really do not watch or listen to podcasts. I like never have. And I really thought that when I was about to start the VMix that I would, and I still have not. I don't know. Truthfully, it's me in my mind. I always tell myself, like, I don't have the time. Like, back when I was working, that definitely made sense. And so now, even when I'm not, I'm still pretty busy, truthfully. But still, it's a lot more freedom in my time, but still. And so it's just, it's weird that I just don't. It's the same way of, like, I mean, I just wrote and published a book, and I would admit it that I bought plenty of people's books, and I've become a book collector in the past year. Hi, Jess. Hey, Jasmine. That's my good sis, y'all. Man, she cares about me, man. I was getting around to talking about you. It's one of these topics that I'm getting to. But here's this one, right? So because I'm turning into that person of enjoying people talk, like, when they're talking, like the morning shows or whatever, the evening shows, whatever. I enjoy, like, when they're talking, I literally will skip through, like, oh, it's music on. Oh, ain't nobody talking. All right, I guess I'll go to find a song that I actually like. Okay. But I keep just trying to push these locks behind this ear. It's just, all right, whatever. Anyway, but so I think this was on the Frank, I know it's on 95.5, but I think that's the Frank Ski show. I don't know if it was morning, I don't know, it was Frank Ski morning show. Frank Ski, I believe. Because I remember that DC accent, so I definitely know it was one of them. And so they were talking about how there is plenty of work, right? No, I'm sorry. The question was why people, or the prompt was why people are not returning or wishing to work right now. And so his opinion was like, there's plenty of work. And, he would love to be in his 20s, racking up all the available work and climbing the ladder much faster right now. And I forget his co-host's name. It was Jasmine. I know it's a woman. And no shade, but I think that's the one I might have told you about a while ago, that, like, she has this heavy lisp, and it can throw me sometimes. It didn't throw me then. When they were talking, because that's why it could not be her, but I don't know. Anywho, that was just my thoughts. So while he may have a point to a certain degree, what I feel as though he's forgetting is about the fact that like he's forgetting all about our generation, like our age range. I think that he's only speaking of, was it Generation Z? I told you I mess it up every time, but the younger generation, right? I think he is only speaking to them. And if that is, the generation and a part of the folks that do not want to work right now, okay. I know a lot of, I'll probably have to end up looking at stats truthfully, but a lot of us are us right now. Like I said, a lot of us are us, but like it's not. So there was mention of unemployment and how some people are making more staying home, but it's about to run out, right? So they're doing all this, like he's like running it down. And then they even mentioned like, quality of life, the benefit of staying home. Okay. Then 3 was a slight mention of like, starting businesses and, people are the innovative ways to make money, quick money versus long-term money. And so he's like, yeah, there are people that could do Uber Eats and all, but how are you going to do that? And does that have 401k and this? Got it. I hear you. He even said, he was like, it has to be something more than that though, right? He was like possibly that they're scared of COVID or whatever. So of course it's, he's trying to get like people to call in. I didn't get around. So I don't know if I was dialing the right number. I think I wasn't. I think it was just busy. I was trying to like call in, like be like, listen, bro. But I believe this is in response to that it's big holes in his opinion, although he's entitled to it, but there are big holes. That, again, with the slight mentions of those 3 things of the unemployment and the quality of life and the start of businesses, there should have been more emphasis on entrepreneurship. While I truly believe it's not for everybody, it's not for the faint of heart. Let me take a sip. Not for the faint of heart. But the fact that, again, that he was only referring to like the 20-year-olds, you're missing a large amount of like people, right? That, either don't wish to return to work or don't wish to work right now. It's not even necessarily that they don't want to work. I know, like speaking for myself, I don't want to. And I know that I have now been released. I think I've tapped into the freedom, the free will way of thinking, if I can say that, of like how I know that I need the room to be able to breathe and to create and to write and do and be, because here it is right now. And this is another topic, I guess I'll get into it now, of that, truthfully right now, I know that you're talking to Jazz, so shout out to Jazz, get you some good friends, man. I'm trying to tell you that I know I did not want to talk. I did not want to talk today, yesterday. And I think between today when I was napping, it was a lot of missed phone calls and text messages. Yesterday, I think the same thing. I think it's been like 3 days, right? Probably all this week. But it's 2 days in particular I'm thinking about. Whereas I knew for sure, like I actually saw some calls, or once maybe if I saw them after the fact, was like, I don't feel like I don't want to answer, or I don't want to respond to them. And so I realized and concluded today, like, dang it, I think I'm in a depressive episode. Like, dang it, here it is, right? I'm in it. It's been going on, it's happening. And y'all know, like, 2 weeks ago, I shared with y'all like my testimony of just like where I am. So today, I am practicing something that I said, I think it was 2 weeks ago or just semi-recently. I'm practicing showing up unfinished. Remember I said that is like the B tip for the rest of the year, where I'm practicing showing up is where sharing with y'all that I really, like on my way to pick my daughter up today, I did a voice memo, and it was my prayer out loud and my petition before God, and that I wanted to be able to share it. So I didn't want to forget it. So that was another reason why I did the voice memo, just to go back on it in my reflection time, right? And so, which I even have to get better at. I really wanted to tell y'all that, by the way. Like, I know I push for it. I have to do it myself. So y'all start holding me accountable for it. But I really talked about, as believers, for the believers, you've heard before, like, tell God or bring God, the hard thing, ask him the hard things. That's even in the Bible, to bring forth to him, what the thing that's troubling you the most and the hardest thing that you just cannot, right? And so truthfully, me hearing that lately, it is so crazy how we will think that we are hearing something and think that we are applying it and doing it correctly. And you could be all wrong. That is a story of my life. And thank God that those instances are getting smaller or shorter in time. But me thinking that I was trying to get around to asking him the hard thing, I'm thinking of like, okay, what's the hardest thing, or where's the largest place that I look for my businesses and my ministry, to flourish and to prosper to. And so let me ask him about that. Like, Lord, if I, plan to see a building on top of the highest mountain in the world, let me, find that out. But I knew I wanted to ask for something, not to just throw it out there. Like, Lord, just bless me with a Bentley. Like, I don't want a Bentley. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's that thing. So what I realized today, though, is that and my continuous prayer will be, God, my hard thing that I'm asking for is to fully deliver me and to break the strongholds and to destroy the yoke that depression has or has had over me. Thank you, Lala. Look, Phoenix loves you. I love you back. Oh, y'all, I feel fuzzies. God help me to pull out of this. I literally and remember my testimony, I told you, like, I'm still facing, like Christ, like my testimony. I know I keep pushing back, like when I'm coming with like part 2 to tell y'all how everything is much better and all that. And I believe that. I'm trusting that. But I'm also showing up in the middle of it to show you that it doesn't just happen. Like, it can. And he has every right, like, and he has the power to just fix your stuff right then and there. But then will I get all that I'm supposed to get from it? Right. So I'm okay with that. And I'm going to get to, well, I'll probably skip around now. I don't know where it is, so I'm just not even gonna try to find it, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. That, like, Lord, I can't, like, with my testimony, just again talking about like my financial hardship right now and all. With all that in mind, I still said out of my mouth and said from the most sincere part of my heart that, Lord, depression over my life is what I cannot afford. I cannot afford. It's the biggest ticket that I cannot afford. I can't afford it to keep me in a place of not wanting to shower some days, right? I can't afford for it to keep me in a place of not wanting to clean my house and keep it at the tip-top shape. You know what I mean? Even if I'm getting out of here, I still have to take care of where I am and where I am. Like, I don't want anybody in here because it's like, I would not. I hate it. And then depression is so depressing that you're in a place where it's like, it's a place I already don't want to be in. I am trying to get out of it. It's already tiring to be in this place. Me trying to get out of it is even more tiring. And then I hate that I'm here. So it's those 3, right? I hate that I'm here because I don't like, for me, like, I don't want, like, where, parts of my house, whatever, that are like messy or whatever, I just need to clean, that I know I would be like, oh, let me get this, right? I don't even want my daughter to see that, like, I don't want her to, because I do not want her to normalize any of it. And I love that I'm functioning, I'm a functioning person dealing with depression. And so I even finally called out, because I know as I was writing my book, I actually talk about depression and my struggle with depression in my book, right? Shout out to Dear Tombstone. It's on Amazon now, y'all. And Money, I know I suck. I'm going to just say it out loud right now. I know I suck and I'm trash. I know I said I was going to work on it last weekend. And then it was like, I want to make sure that I can say that it's available on Amazon. And now that it is, I'm going to really get to it. I'm for real, because I'm excited and even grateful that you even want to run an ad for the book. So I said that publicly because I hope that I really mean that. And so, but I talk about my struggle in my book that I wrote, right? And so, dang it, what was the point I was about to say, though? Let's go. Dang it. Shoot. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that, yarn. I don't remember. I really don't, honestly. But Dear Tombstone on Amazon, go check it out. Truthfully, trust me, it's a good read. I've been getting so many good reviews on it. It's so crazy. Like, I've been told it's a good read. I know it is, and it's not just because it's my stuff or not just because I wrote it. Like, bro, it's a good one. I ain't gonna lie, some stuff in there to read on. But all that to say is just because that, with that, me acknowledging that this thing, as in like depression, has had a hold on me here and there. Like I'll even admit, and I think I admitted it while I was making the voicemail and just praying out loud about it to God as I was driving, that, I can tell that it is the biggest, baddest weapon that the enemy has ever used against me, right? He has come back with it like so many different times. Like, bro, I know if I can't get nothing else, okay, this person hurt her physically or emotionally or spiritually, but I got her in her mind. Like, I'm getting her mentally. Like, all right, so because she got through those tests, but let me get her here. You know what I mean? And so it's happened, like it has been recurring, and I just refuse for it to. And I really just pleaded to God, like, you have to lift this from me. Like, you have to. Like, I'm coming boldly before the throne because you said that we can. And while I understand in the world, not of the world, believers, but in the world, understanding that, it's not an easy feat, right? And then as a believer, so everything's always two-sided, then as a believer to understand that I can bring the hardest things that I deal with to God, and it can be easy and light to him, where it's like burdening me, and almost at points of time, it felt like, life or death, right? And so just understanding that I'm asking, to be released from that, and for that to be released from me, that I never want to struggle with it ever again. I think that's what I was getting to. There we go. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Lord. That in my book, even when I talk about the pressure, the struggle or pressure of dealing with depression, that I never mentioned, because at that time, truthfully, I hadn't even known that I was actually diagnosed with major depressive disorder. So I actually said this and admitted it out loud, because looking at my chart recently, and the things I've had it in my hand, all the time, like having the app on my phone, the My Portfolio thing for anybody. If you're a doctor, a hospital, whatever uses it, use it. It's really helpful. Honestly, just for me being a person like always getting like the STD screenings and all that, loving to see how everything is negative or non-responsive. That one used to trip me out so many times. Like I would forget, like in the 6 months, I'd be up scared every time. Like, what's non-responsive? What that mean? Oh, that's no, negative. Okay, cool. Just saying, like, do not play with me. But, to be able to get that, like, while they say, like, oh, we're going to call you with it, blah, blah, blah. And even in COVID, like, bro, you got to call me. Y'all busy. You can go and see it, like, get the email, the notification, it's something else, and test results in. Got it. Cool. I remember just the last time I was at the hospital or at the doctor's or whatever, and they did, like, pregnancy tests. And I think that was actually when I was scared, because I had dipped. Like, literally the once. It was so crazy. That's what I get. That's why I had the anxiety about it. I remember while I was there and I was going for an x-ray. Oh, that was the story I told y'all about the piercing. Lord have mercy. And so I was going for the x-ray. So we hadn't even got the result back yet. Like, they hadn't told me anything, but I got on my phone like, oh, okay. Because they didn't know. Like, even getting back to the radiologist or whatever, that they asked the nurse that was bringing me around there. It was like, oh, I don't know. I think it's negative. I think it's, girl, what you think? It's positive or negative? Pregnancy test. That's important. For this x-ray thing, but I need to know, baby. So that's a shout out to My Portfolio. Use it. I was in denial, not in denial, but I just was lazy. I don't know. Stuff will be right there for us, and we'll still be like, and that was me about something as simple as that. So either who, but me going on it, it hit me hard. And like I said, my book was already done, and also I didn't really get a chance to go back and like add that in there, because I think I mentioned that the only diagnosis as far as depression had I ever actually had, or to my knowledge of, was postpartum depression, right? So after having Sydney. But now to know, like, oh, I've been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, which is like, right? I had to eat that for a little while. And I'm even telling myself here that I've been running from my therapist. Like, I'm supposed to have one a session. This we're like in like monthly sessions now. Supposed to have one I'm sure it's probably like next week. And I think I've already been telling myself, like, oh, I might skip that too. So I don't want to, and I get it. When I push and encourage and empower each of you to seek therapy, professional mental help, I still push for that, but it doesn't mean that I do not understand that you can be at a place where it's like, I don't want to talk to somebody about my stuff right now. Right. And but you have to understand that's right now. That's in that moment, especially for those of you that have never. That's in that moment. It's still go through the process of finding a place, get to a place, call, make an appointment, and just try to see if you can push like get through the days leading up until that moment. And hopefully on that day of that, you feel led, to open up, to just try it, because I still push for it. But I'm saying this to say that I understand, because last month totally canceled my appointment, like the day of, I think, or like in the moment. Like I saw she had sent the link. It's virtual. She sent the link, and I was just like, I just don't. I wound up saying like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Please, I hope you enjoy it. Please, and let me know. Let me know how it is. It's very hard. It is very hard. I'm reading comments. So yeah, I thank you. I really hope you enjoy the book, and that it is just hard all around. Life in itself, and I've always said like, oh, life is hard. It's the people in it that make it hard. And while that, I still feel like that still rings some truth. It could even be ourselves, right? We talked about that like last month, where we got into just being so hard on ourselves, that, when we broke down just different areas in our life, like different interactions with the different people, different genres of people in our lives. And so it is hard. So then add depression on that, and it's just like, ooh. And to imagine there are so many people walking around with it, too many to count, too many to name. And so first and foremost, let me pause in this moment to salute each of you. And I do mean each of you, that whether you are aware that you are depressed or not, or dealing with depression, struggling with depression, hurting, by depression, or climbing out of depression, which is my hope for each of us. I salute you for pressing through. Like my friend Jazz, again, shout out to her. Literally, she just spoke some words into me earlier of just like, hey, like you really just been still showing up. Like you really still gonna do the show tonight. You really still gonna do this. She even reached out. I was like, hey, do you want me to call in? Like, I mean, just like, thank you for this work, because I'm not the person to reach out. So yes, I'm beating myself up a little bit. Not really, but I know I'm not proud of it. I will say that. But it is who I have been, and who I'm used to being, and who I have to give more effort toward not being that person of not looking out and asking for support. Because a lot of my stuff really is usually like, oh, it's on me. And so, but I'll do the necessary things to work through that. That is the key, though. So there are a lot of people that can say the same thing, like, oh yeah, I know it's only me that can get me out of the stuff that I'm dealing with and all that. Sure. But I say that knowing that it's only God that can get me through it and get me out of it. That's why I turn to him. Like my hard thing, what I'm laying on the altar, what I'm coming boldly before the throne with, is depression. Right. So again, knowing that twofold thing, that it's not an easy feat. And while some people with depression will, can sit in church and be turned off to hear, these different, what's the names, not what's the name, sorry, because I read something, but these different sermons, and hear like the preachers talking about like, because God, we're praying for you to, destroy depression, right? And so anyone that will, where it can be, where some people can hear, like, oh, that's not gonna be the only thing to do it. Sure. Okay. It can be, but God also, the way he empowers us, we talk about empowering each other. So God empowers and encourages us, right, to understand that, he doesn't want it to be just a one thing. He doesn't want to just wave his magic wand, and just bing, fix things. Like he empowers us, encourages us, and uplifts us to get to that place where we really can appreciate, where we are. Like this thing that I'm coming out of, that I had been coming out of, and then here comes the enemy one more time, like, ooh, because I didn't even get around to telling it. Well, no, because it just happened over the weekend. So I wouldn't have been able to tell y'all before now. But went to church Sunday. That was a good, a lot lately. I'd been like dancing a lot, I would like praise and dance and worship. And so just my feet would just get light, and I was just like, I gotta move, right? And then like, especially like the Sunday before, oh my Lord, like I tore that floor up, right? But and it's funny because I think it's because I usually go through so much, or it was whatever I'm going through is so heavy, that in my praise, it's always like I can't stop. Like I gotta keep going. Like I have to just get all this out, and it'll be so much. Hold up a service and all that, and never meaning to, because it's never like for anybody else. It just be what's in me, what's on me. And so fast forward to this past Sunday, where then we went to a second service. Y'all, I kid you not. God came to see about me. You understand me? that during that service, and it was a celebration service for another pastor, right? Another pastor that our church fellowships with his church. I had never been to his church. I've seen him though a couple times. Really, it's only that one time that Sunday of speaking is like just saying hi to him, knowing that he doesn't know me, and that's okay. And then one time before of like attending this funeral service. And speaking to him then, but I said, and kind of just putting two and two together, like, oh, I think that's, him by name. I never know people's names, even in my own church. It is horrible. And that's another thing I had to put effort toward. It's getting better at, but oh, Lord. Anyway, but during the second service, right? So just to say that, like, I know he doesn't know me personally and I don't know him personally, right? I respect him, respect his, his ministry. I respect the calling over his life. Child, when I tell you that it was like praise going on, like, so the first service, like I said, at our own church, it was like I was in worship mode though. Like, even though I had been in dance mode a lot, praise mode, I was in worship mode. Even during the praise time, I was just really like ready to just, lifting my hands, cry a little bit. It was a song that moved me. I don't know. A song I think I ain't never even heard before. Maybe you hadn't heard it in a long time, whatever. And so at the second service, though, like just my praise was back. Like I had my feet got light again. And so I'm praising and all that. When I say he stood up and literally my name, it is Benia. It is pretty easy, pretty simple to say. In my entire life, people have butchered it almost every time I've heard my name, right? That I always just had corrected. So I know that that alone, that it had to just be, I know for sure it was a move of God, like that God came to see about me. That in the middle of this praise, literally that pastor, and not just his celebration, he could have been just sitting down and just kind of just letting everybody, praise and everybody kind of like celebrate him and all. And the fact that he was obedient to God and that God had him to stand up on the mic and to call my name and say, you just danced your way into your next season. That God said, whatever it is you've been praying to him about, that he's going to do that, right? Like, God, you showed up, you pulled up in the hood to come see about little old me. Like, this man don't know me. It was unbelievable. And no, I'm lying, not unbelievable, because I've seen it and believed it many times before. But for it to happen for me, it was so touching, right? And so I say that to encourage, anyone that is dealing with their own, whether it's a depressive episode right now, if you're reflecting on a past depressive episode, which I hope not, but if any of you experience them, beyond this moment, remember that I told you that you definitely can press through it and that you can still function and not just survive through that storm, through that moment, through that episode. If it is that you need time, if it is those, a couple of days that you may not shower, if it is those days where you just want to kind of plug into some TV, but do the things like my good girlfriend, good sis Jazz said earlier, she reminded me of like, yeah, you put on some music, you do that self-care, like you take a bath and, like things like that. And so we get away from all of that. And it's just weird because here I am, the person that'll think like, oh, if this thing fixes me, like if I don't know why earlier I remembered that I was infatuated with, I still love Lime, but infatuated with, especially when I was like really serious about, so that's another thing I have been doing. I have been overindulging and definitely not working out as much. I got back to it Monday where I really wanted to get back into it last week when Sydney started school. So I would have been 2 weeks into this thing, but I only did it Monday. I ain't done it no other time, but I got my 5.5 miles in Monday. And like I said, I haven't done it anymore this week, but yeah, I've been just literally eating and seeing my pounds just come right back on. So crazy. But dang it, see, lost my train of thought. That's what I get. It's gone. It's gonna come back though. It's gonna come back. Okay. Here's another one. Let's get us everybody. Okay. We'll read the room there. Kind of just clear that out a little bit. But the end of that part of just depressive episodes or anyone dealing or battling with anything within your mind, any struggle or storm within your mind, that self-care helps, it works. There we go. I know I was going with it. That, because this brings me back right to where I was going with it. That I was infatuated with lime, right? And so I would do my lime infused water and all that, but I was doing it too much. So my problem has always been like, well, if this works, if this is good to me and good for me, or, good for me, then good to me or whatever, then let me do it. Like, but you learn different things, even with like hair or something, or skincare, that the same product, the same thing, either that your skin or your hair or body will, become immune to it. So you have to switch it up. You have to, build a regimen and, things like that. So, that was what I was like in denial of. Like, I remember that Lyme, after a while, I had to realize, like, oh, that's probably what tore my stomach up after a good while of indulging with like lime infused water, right? I was probably putting I think it was putting lime in everything too. So I was definitely overindulging in something like that. But understanding that, so the same thing with when you're dealing and combating with, your mental health, right? Or the struggles or challenges against your mental health, is that not only doing one thing probably just won't be it, is the point, like of building a regimen. And so I think that it's a combo of self-care, or really of just, it can be the umbrella of self-care and how you define it, the things that are under that umbrella. Prayer should be under there, to whomever you believe in. At this point, we will tackle that another day. I will always vote for Jesus Christ, because I know and truly believe that he is the one true living God. And I can tell you all about him and how he definitely moves in my life. I'm trying to tell you. And so prayer, meditation, y'all, do not forget about fasting. Some big things that I have been praying over and asking for, and I, cried about and went to the altar and this and that. And so we're like, what in the world? Why ain't come out of yet? And then it'll be like, it's like unlocked as soon as I turn my plate down, or, fast away from something, social media, something. And it always helps me. Hey, Chris. Hey. Like once I, just fast from something, right? And so do not forget about fasting. So you have prayer, meditation, fasting, self-reflection, all that can be under your self-care. And then, there are your other things, painting your nails, or guys, I don't know, anything, playing the game, or spending some time with your children. Like if that's the thing that brings you, if it's just looking at their pictures, while they're sleeping, or looking at their videos, the things that just bring you joy, those literally Jasmine's words earlier, like just remember the things that make you happy. Yes. Like I got to get out of this. I got to come out of this, but I can't sit here and just wait for God to get given. Like I just told y'all Sunday, like about my Sunday, like he will come and see about you, but he should find you working. Woo! That should be tip of the week. I had another one, but baby, that's your B tip of the week. Okay, so I'm gonna give you both of them at the same time, because I just scrolled up to the other one. B tip of the week is that he will come see about you, but he should find you working to come out of your stuff, working to do better. I used to think, and this is me going to, I know earlier I mentioned that I had another something else that I thought was going to tie into this, and now I think this is it. I'm not sure, but I'm tying this one anyway. I used to really think that my blessings only, remember my words, only came from me being a blessing to other people. Not the case. Not the case. I then had to learn that, remember, it was on my balance, right? And so doing, a mesh of different things, like this mashup of different topics today, right? That a mesh of different things, in hopes of, doing better, doing good, contributing to the greater good, doing God's work that he intended over your life, right? To be a blessing to other people. And while all that, yes, is the case, you have to be good to you. When he says, be a blessing to my people, that includes you. We forget about ourselves when we say like, oh yeah, I do. I help people all the time. Are you helping yourself too? No, you forgot. You forget about you. When you pray for others, you forget about you. Just like on the flip side, you'll be reminded to say like, hey, don't just pray about you. All those selfish prayers, make sure you're praying for others, right? So vice versa. And so I used to, like I said, think that my blessings would only come from when I bless other people. But God had to let me hurt with that and realize and let people betray me and let people hurt me for me to get out of the idea of thinking that that was the only way. See, not saying that I wouldn't be blessed by that, but that was the only way to be blessed. Did I see that? No. Okay. I don't think I wrote that one down. I think I was talking about that in my voice memo, so I might continue that on next week. But either way, of just like, but then realizing the balance of that I had to be good to myself and I had to work on me and had to pour into me, right? Because my blessing would come from, God isolating me and working on me and me availing myself to be worked on. So again, your B tip of the week is he will come see about you, but he should find you working. Second B tip of the week is you can never be great if you're ungrateful. I heard that somewhere. I think that's from Stephen Chandler. I can't remember. But I saw or heard that somewhere very recently. I think like just yesterday. Can't remember though. That you can never be great if you're ungrateful and not working on even when. So remember, we can get caught up in doing good and think that we're doing it. We can be caught up doing good and still doing it the wrong way. It's another B tip of the week. Y'all, I'm giving you something tonight. I'm telling you, I promise. That's because I pray for God to please, Lord, no matter how I'm showing up, talk through me tonight. Okay. And so again, that you can never be great if you're ungrateful even means that, if you're not showing up for yourself, if you're not, like I said, availing yourself to be isolated and to be worked on and to be, made anew and to be revived or whatever it is that you need to show up as your best self, which we know is not going to always be, but you have to put forth some effort to get back there. It's fine if you need to be like, hey, I need a moment. That's okay. You cannot stay there though. It's called a moment for a reason, right? And so it shows you being ungrateful if you choose to stay there. If you choose to say, no, I got plenty of stuff I can be a mean, bitter, nasty, mean, evil person about. No, I can be angry. I can be this person to other people because look who didn't hurt me. Look at how many people on this list hurt me. How many times for some of you, somebody's out there saying, look how God has hurt me. Look how God has allowed me to be hurt. I get it. I hear you. Oh, I hear you. Okay. I promise I got different parts and I think I'm going to add too. So we're going to get them right back to Testimony Thursday. Like, I hear you, and yet I still believe. I know that it was intended for that. He has to move in such a way where he's not enthralled by our emotions. I know in the Bible, I can't remember if it says, it doesn't say he doesn't care about them. How some people paraphrase it, they'll say that. Just to be clear though, I'm sorry y'all, because I definitely asked you a couple questions and I ain't dropped the number, but I want to be clear. The phone lines are always open. 443-642-9403. Again, 443-642-9403. Feel free to call and text or comment, as some of you have been doing, which I really appreciate. And also always to like and share the show in general and to share each week's show out. I appreciate those of you that do that. I definitely do, because I always pray for folks that view live, as well as anyone that would review or view the replay. There we go. For hours, generations to come, like just time and time to come. So, but phone lines are definitely open. Again. Oh. You saying we have a caller? Is that what that means?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jess.
Hey,
I just wanted to say it's just so beautiful to watch, like you mentioned, we talked earlier, and you still came through with a wonderful message just now. And I've been getting it a lot, but, that's something me and you have in common, caring for others. And really, I just been getting focused on what makes you happy, And that's what's showing up for me is, pouring into my passions. And I appreciate the message. All right, I'm going back to watching.
Hey, I thank you for calling. I really appreciate it. And I'm just glad that you, I'm glad you got that from that. I really appreciate that, especially again.
I'm in the process of setting up my paint stand right now.
Period. That's what I'm talking about. See, y'all, that's what I mean. Because she said it. She said what makes her happy is pouring into her passions. And that's exactly it, because that's the way it will be used, for us. How God will, I'm sure that's how God intended it. For those of you that, praise the universe and to the ancestors, to me is all in one to me. But hey, to each his own.
Mm-hmm.
That's the intent for it, is for, again, back to fasting. When I fasted, I'd be like, oh, I'm fasting from, meat and soda and like I never drink soda anyway, but just the things, that were not good for me that I might have been indulging in. It's probably something I need to go back on, right? And obviously it would help me, like help my overall health and things. And here I am, I'm just fasting and pushing away my plate, telling God that, hey, it's you that I want to fill me. So it's the things about, like you said, about what makes us happy that will be used for our greater good. Like we think we're doing it just because it's our passion and all that, but it's like, no, I'm about to use this. Like I'm about to flip it for you. I got you, baby. Don't worry about it. So I love to hear that you're setting up your painting. Get to that. Oh, I'm excited.
And I have not painted since December, so I'm really like, I've been so focused on the other things, but I feel like I'm being really called to go back to focusing on painting. So.
I love it. And I think it's fall into place for you. I'm pretty sure of it. I love it though.
Thank you. All right. I'm tuning in.
Okay. Thank you. I'd love to hear that y'all like, it makes me so happy to hear when people tell me good things that they're doing or thinking about, or just thinking about is putting, the initial energy towards something. It overjoys me. Like it makes my heart so happy because I hear more than just, oh, hey, like for Jazz, like oh, hey, I'm setting up, I'm getting back into painting. Like, no, that means you're about not just that. You are about to, and then she said she hasn't painted since December. Like, how long ago is that? So meaning that all this time that you now have that in you, right? Because she's painted before. She has beautiful paintings, by the way. Please check her out. And that they just now all this time, and that's where depression will try to kick in. That is where the enemy will definitely try to use that, just like he tries to overwhelm us, right? And make us feel like everything that we're being called to do is so overwhelming. That's why I don't know how y'all doing life without Christ. I'm trying to tell you something about how he will elongate those days and stretch those hours and minutes and seconds to make you feel like you had, not even to make you feel like, but to allow you to do everything that you were called to do in that day. In your morning prayers, if you are not asking God, what is it, or help me to do all that you have intended for me to do in that day. And it's funny because those days will even include, like, some of the days that I've actually made sure I remembered to say that and ask for that have included a day where I really just kind of stayed, on the couch a little bit, or just took a couple naps, or something. It's like, okay, this was a rest day. Got it. I want to be clear about that. I don't want to look back and be like, dang, yesterday all I did was sleep. You know what I mean? Like, and not know and not know that that wasn't what was intended for me to do. And so, just that. So like I said, for what depression will come in and say like, oh, you haven't, for Jazz, that, oh, you haven't painted since December. How could you have not? Oh, you've been giving your attention to other things. But that's not how it's supposed to go. If anything, when I look at it as, okay, this is now time that you've been able to compile, like something has been able to build up. And so that pressure, that good pressure to produce these diamonds, and I'm just speaking a diamond, these diamonds, or you as the diamond, to be able then to produce more diamonds to come. Like, God is all about the anointing. Like when I pray for people, especially when I pray for those that I know and love, like I pray about the anointing that is rested upon each of your lives, like each of our lives, like just what we are anointed to do. God is already in the blessing business. He's easily going to bless you anyway. That's why I said, like, the blessing does not only come from being a blessing to others. That is a part of our job. Absolutely. What's the number one part of our job is to love. Secondly is to go out and to preach the gospel to the world, right? And then, the other, is just to be a blessing, right? You're blessed to be a blessing. And then so many other things that we're supposed to do and just be, but those are like the core. Everything comes from those. And so, in my opinion, let me say that. I'm not saying all that's Bible, but just what I'm gathering and learning, right, in my trainings and all, or just what I'm gathering from what I'm learning in my trainings. I don't want nobody coming back like, that teacher did not teach you that. Like, that's what I'm getting, putting it together for myself. But yeah, so, it's that the enemy will try to use that like, oh, it's been all this time. But really, again, it's been this time to build up the necessary pressure for such a time as this to be able then to pour out. Like, I'm excited to see the end result and know that these paintings that are about to be produced just for Jasmine alone. And so this is, to me, symbolic for all the rest of you that are out there for whatever it is your passion is or had been that you probably need to get back to, that you've taken some time from. And now, okay, you good now? You rested? You got it? All right, if you're not rested, because sometimes we can waste that time, right? Because I think even in my prayer, I was like, Lord, if I, piss the day away, oh, this is what it was. Because I mentioned, I remember in the voice memo, I felt like I was derailing. And I started talking about how that city is now in big girl school, and that I'm glad that I have, these time restraints where, I know that even in this depressive episode that I have to show up. I know that literally she has to show up. She has to attend school. She has to be well, look well, feel well, and all those things. And then it's not like I could be in a depressive episode, and just be so and wallow in my sorrows so long that I don't go pick her up or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's like I have, these two pillars, like I have these things to do as it pertains to her. And then other things around it, right? And so, it's a good thing. And so I remember saying, like, even if I piss, the whole day away in between there, that I still have these two, pillars, these two strong obligations to fulfill each day. And so for us, for each of you, whatever it is you're passionate about, that you now need to, if you're unclear of them, or maybe they have changed. So you could still be unclear. Maybe you were clear before, and maybe you need to be ultra clear about it now, or that they have changed, like to seek in self-reflection and meditation and prayer. Again, even in fasting, you receive answers, even in fasting, right? You receive prayer answers, even reading the word. I kid you not. Like, I know, like, to be an unbeliever, for anybody that is an unbeliever that hears somebody say, like, oh, God will talk to you and he will reveal things to you while you're reading the Bible. You're like, how? If I'm reading the they, thou, art, thy, this, ain't no way he finna tell me if I'm supposed to be my baby father or not. I get it. I hear you loud and clear, right? And y'all, that was an example. That was not for me, okay? Because y'all know I don't even refer to him as baby father anyway, so I know that was not for me. But just the fact that your answer, like, there's a voice. He does not come to you like the burning of the bush and Moses. Like, he not all the time. If you need to be yelled at, if he feels that you need to be yelled at in that moment, I'm probably sure he will. But it doesn't come to you like that. And so you have to work to, the storm will be so loud, and it's loud for a reason. Imagine if the storm was, I always know, like, the opposite. If storms were made to be quiet and, hurt you quietly, then that means that I'm looking for a big voice, a loud voice. But because storms are loud and they are loud in your head, depression is loud in your head sometimes. Like, it's loud in your head so much though, but you understand that your surrounding can be so quiet that, you don't want to open the curtain. I'm like, this is me looking around, like, you don't want to open the curtains like you normally would and let the sun shine in and all that. But yet the storm is so loud in your head, that means that you're looking for a quiet voice to guide you through that storm. So when you are seeking clarity over these pillars or these obligations that you have within your passion, because you have to work your passion. Remember, your B tip of the week was, he will come see about you, but he should find you working. So your passion can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get back to it. No. Kudos and applaud to Jazz. She literally just said she's setting up her painting, like, her painting station. So yes, do that. Imagine if she just laid around her house and was just like, I'm gonna get back to painting. I'm gonna do it. Let me put it on me. Let me take it off of her. Let me put it on me. I'm gonna write. I'm gonna get this book written. I'm gonna do it. No, baby, you have to sit up. You got to get to a place where you're gonna write, or put this document in a place like a Google Docs or something where you can, edit from your phone. So that way, wherever you go, like when Benia was zipping and running and going and stopping here and this and that. Oh, child, let me sip some tea, child, because I'm talking about Benia stuff, okay? That, you have to work, it's like we have to work your faith. That's your faith, right? And was it something else that's like brewing up in me is that, like, we have to graduate. So it's about like matriculating through our spirituality, spiritual matriculation. Remember I said that, that, you are to graduate from faith to belief, from belief to trust. That's it. Right? Or let's give it 4. So graduate from respect to faith, graduate from faith to belief, graduate from belief to trust. Okay? And you have to work in between those steps of the ladder, right? Because automatically you should just respect anything that you at least have heard that is higher or bigger than you. Just automatically it's okay. Just respect it. I know out here in the street, I just won't respect nobody. Respect gotta be earned, not given. I get all that. However, I have never run with that before. I do not like that. I would be the teacher that starts you off with 100 and let you, because that shows what you literally aren't yourself. Because when you start from the 0, technically these kids do have a point where they're like, no, she gave me a C. Like, I get it, but whatever. I just think it's just a better way around. It's like, all right, start off with 100. I'm gonna give you that just for being on my roster and showing up, being registered, enrolling, being on my roster, and now you showed up the first day. Got it, cool. By quarter after quarter, if you knocking that notches down, or if you maintaining that, and you earned that, whatever that is. If you maintained that 100, if you knocked it down to that 80, to that 60, to that 30, whatever, then you have failed yourself. This is what you earned. You earned a failing grade because you did not work your faith, right? And so into that, so that's the respect level, right? And then so with the faith, then it's just like, okay, I know that there has to be some respect, that there is something higher than me that can help me through these things. The only thing you really asked me to do is to have faith in him. Cool. That's it. Just faith. Just let faith be that. Just faith. I don't know how else you want me to put it. But then see, faith, the way you work faith is then it turns into belief. Like, because I was trying to use the word believe while I was talking about faith. Then it turns into belief. It's like, I kind of believe, I have faith enough to believe that he really might see me through these things. Cool. Huh. You believing, okay? You can stick. Yeah, me. I've been rolling through belief. Like, yeah, I'm believing. No, now I gotta trust them. That's this last leg of the storm that I've been dealing with. I gotta trust that I'm really about to come out of all of this, and not just come out of it, come out of it better than I ever have been. For any of my friends like that dealing with anything, and some friends of mine are dealing with some hard things, unimaginable things right now. And I understand that it was just said to me recently, like, I want to get back to some sense of normalcy, and in a totally different context than what any of us have been using that phrase. And so while I get that, but truthfully, and I say with love, like, I don't want that for anybody. I don't want any of us to get back to any sense of normalcy, because it's the back. Now it's to get to a sense of normalcy, or to reestablish, see how power of words, to reestablish a sense of normalcy. Then that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want for you, beloved. I want you to reestablish a sense of normalcy. And yes, that is even for anybody that, say, if the only problem that you are facing right now is just maintaining or getting through or getting by because of COVID, that things are still different, that we are all still battling, this deadly virus out here, and all these different strands and this and that, and trying to figure out, a vaccine or not, and all of these different things. If that is your only, thing that you are facing right now, that's enough. So this conversation is for you. Don't you dare think that you don't have a leg in this. You sit on down, sit on the side of the pool, dip your toes in, swish around your feet a little bit, get a little paddling, okay? You can even jump on in the pool if you want to. It's like lukewarm to cool. I don't know why I just had to run with all that was in my brain. I had to run with that whole analogy. But, this conversation is for you. And so I bid you, each of you, to seek peace over all. Through it all, in it all, it is there. You have to seek it, though. Remember, I said, while the storm is loud, you're listening for a quiet voice. That quiet voice that will tell you, like, nah, I probably shouldn't. Even something stupid, like earlier with me. Like, somebody pulled up the thing that I was cutting them off. It was dumb. And then I made sure I cut them off because it was only because I didn't have Sydney and I was just in my place. I had just did this whole prayer and voice memo thing. but it's a quiet voice that I know if I had to calm down, I would have listened to hear like, don't do all that. That's okay. Just let it go. But I didn't. So even in your loud storms, listen for your quiet voice. Quiet and calm yourself. Make you some tea. I know it's coffee lovers out there. I hate it, but whatever. Still, you can still drink tea even if you like coffee. Get off the coffee. Drink some tea. Light an incense. Talk to yourself, to families, to friends. Seek professional mental help. Talk to someone about your stuff that can help walk you through it. Meditate, pray, read the word, study it, fast. You got it. I promise. I'll make it through it. Because I look forward to seeing you next week, okay? I love you. I mean it. I'll see you next week. Peace. Thank you.